Pain is the most misunderstood force in the world. People treat it like a curse, like a plague, like something that must be avoided at all costs. From the time we're children, we're taught that pain is bad, that it means something's wrong, that it should be removed, fixed, or numbed. But that belief, that mindset is the very thing holding people back from ever becoming who they were meant to be. Pain isn't the enemy. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the most powerful catalyst for transformation you'll ever encounter. It's not a sign that you're weak or broken. It's the exact proof that something inside you is ready to be born. And the moment you begin to understand that, your entire world changes. The way you see struggle changes. The way you handle adversity changes. You stop shrinking from pain and start leaning into it, not because you love suffering, but because you finally see the purpose behind it. The truth is, pain introduces you to the parts of yourself that comfort has hidden. When you're sitting in ease, nothing gets tested. Your discipline stays dormant. Your character stays shallow. Your potential sits locked behind the walls of convenience and luxury. But the second pain hits, real pain, deep pain, it cracks those walls open. It exposes what you're made of. It reveals the depth of your resilience, your hunger, your identity. It tears through all the illusions and excuses you've built up and demands that you face who you really are. That confrontation is not pleasant, but it is necessary. Because until you meet the raw, unfiltered version of yourself under pressure, under fire, under pain, you'll never know the depth of your strength. Pain doesn't lie to you. That's the most powerful thing about it. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't comfort you. It doesn't care about your ego. It shows up and puts pressure exactly where you're weakest. And that is a gift. That is the moment your excuses get challenged. That is when your so-called motivation either dies or evolves into something unshakable. Commitment, because motivation disappears the moment pain arrives. But if you've trained yourself to work with pain, to embrace it as part of the process, you become untouchable. You stop waiting for things to be easy. You stop looking for shortcuts. You rise. Every single time, because you've made peace with the process, you've learned to sit with discomfort long enough to let it shape you. Think about it. Nothing meaningful has ever been created without pain. No great art, no powerful business, no strong relationship, no athletic achievement, no legacy has ever come without discomfort. Behind every success story is a valley of tears, frustration, sacrifice, and doubt. But those who came out on top didn't avoid the valley. They walked straight into it because they understood that pain is part of the process. It's not a distraction from the path. It is the path. It's the stretch that makes you reach higher. It's the friction that sharpens your edge. It's the resistance that makes you stronger. If you can't handle pain, you can't handle growth. Period. Most people are not weak because they're incapable. They're weak because they keep trying to live without pain. They keep trying to build a life that's safe, controlled, predictable, and numb. But in doing so, they also build a life that's powerless, a life that lacks impact, a life that doesn't inspire anyone, not even themselves. Because the moment you remove pain, you remove growth. You remove grit. You remove the pressure that creates diamonds. And without that, you never become who you were born to be. You stay small. You stay soft. You stay stuck in the illusion that life should be easy when the truth is, it's never meant to be easy. It's meant to make you more. So the next time pain shows up in your relationships, in your business, in your journey, don't ask why me. Ask, what is this trying to reveal in me? That shift in perspective changes everything. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as the process of purification. You realize that the struggle is not a barrier, it's an invitation to rise, to fight, to evolve. Pain is not against you. It is the force pulling out the real you, the higher you, the unstoppable you. And the sooner you stop fighting it and start learning from it, the faster you begin to rise into your potential. Pain is not your enemy. It is your ally in the fight for your highest self. ChatGPT said, every champion bleeds. And they bleed not because they are weak, but because they refuse to run. They stand in the fire, they stay in the storm, and they keep swinging even after the world says, you're done. Champions are not made on victory stands, they are built in the dark. When no one is watching, when the crowd is gone, when the lights are off, and the only thing they can hear is doubt whispering in their ears. It's in that silence, in that pain, in that suffocating pressure that they choose to rise and rise again and again. Every drop of blood they spill, every ounce of energy they pour, every tear they wipe away in silence. That is the currency of greatness. That is the cost of becoming legendary. No one hands you power. No one gifts you resilience. You bleed for it. You earn it. One brutal battle at a time. When the average person feels pain, they stop, they fold, they question everything. But the great ones, they use that pain as fuel. They don't just endure it, they build with it. They let it sharpen their mind, fortify their heart, and strip away the distractions that keep others soft. They understand that pain is a part of the process, and instead of rejecting it, they welcome it. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they trust what comes after. Yeah! They've been there before. They felt the sting of defeat, the weight of exhaustion, the bitterness of failure, and they came out better every time. Pain becomes their reminder. You are in the fight. You are growing. You are alive. They don't run from the blood, the bruises, or the breakdowns. They wear them like badges because they know what it means. Progress. You think champions win because they're gifted? Because they were born with something magical? No, they win because they refuse to stay down. When life beat them to the ground, when everything inside them said, it's over, they answered with a roar, not yet. Every cut, every scar, every broken piece of them was stitched back together with fire. Their strength didn't come from comfort. It came from agony, from training when their body screamed, from believing when no one else did, from crawling through moments of darkness so deep they forgot what light felt like, but they crawled anyway. That's what separates them. Not the absence of pain, but their ability to move through it with purpose. Look at any real champion, any man or woman who has built something truly unshakable, and behind them is a trail of trials that would destroy most people. Times they were betrayed, times they failed publicly, times they couldn't see a way forward but kept going anyway. They've lost sleep, lost relationships, lost years, all in pursuit of something bigger than themselves. And while others were chasing comfort, they were chasing pressure. While others were running from the pain, they were running into it because they knew what pain was shaping them into. That kind of strength doesn't come cheap. You pay with blood, sweat, soul, and most aren't willing to pay. But champions, they always do. The bleeding doesn't stop when you win. That's another truth no one talks about. Champions continue to bleed even after they reach the top because they know staying at the top is just as brutal as climbing to it. They keep pushing, keep suffering, keep sacrificing because greatness isn't a destination. It's a standard, and that standard demands pain. The moment you start avoiding it, You lose your edge. You lose your fight. You start slipping. That's why real champions never settle. They bleed to rise and then they bleed to stay. Not because they're obsessed with pain, but because they're obsessed with purpose. They know what's at stake. They know what's required, and they never stop giving it. So when you see someone standing in the spotlight, holding the trophy, wearing the crown, understand this. What you're seeing is only the surface. What you don't see are the countless hours they bled for that moment, the silent sacrifices, the lonely nights, the broken bones, both physical and emotional. You don't see the pain, but it's there, always. It built them. It refined them. It taught them everything they know, because every champion bleeds, and the bleeding never ends. Pain is your most honest mentor because it tells you the truth no one else will. It doesn't sugarcoat your weaknesses. It doesn't comfort your ego. It shows up when your preparation is shallow, when your discipline is soft, when your focus is broken, and it reveals exactly where you're falling short. Most people surround themselves with comfort and compliments. They want to be told they're doing great even when they're slacking, that they are enough even when they're given the bare minimum. But pain doesn't play that game. Pain doesn't lie. It's not here to protect your feelings. It's here to expose your gaps. And once you learn to listen to it, really listen, it becomes the most powerful guide you'll ever have. Because it won't flatter you, it'll refine you. When you wake up every morning and feel the ache in your chest because you're not where you want to be, that ache is not there to torment you, it's there to direct you. It's a message, a signal, a call to rise. That's pain doing its job. It's waking you up, reminding you that you're still below your potential, that you've still got battles to fight. And that feeling, that gut-wrenching hunger, is more valuable than 1,000 motivational speeches because it's real, it's raw, it's personal. You don't need outside validation when pain is teaching you every day. That discomfort you feel when you procrastinate, when you quit early, when you know deep down you could have done more, that's pain stepping in, telling you the truth. No filter, no softness, just clarity. Pain will teach you more about yourself in one moment of crisis than years of comfort ever could. When you're at your lowest, when you've been rejected, when you failed hard and the whole world seems to be closing in, that's when the real lessons show up. Because pain strips away the mask. It forces you to ask the hard questions. Who am I really? What do I truly want? What am I willing to endure? Most people never face those questions because they avoid pain like a disease. But if you face it head on, if you let it speak, it will reveal a truth that no friend, no coach, no mentor can give you. Pain doesn't care who you pretend to be. It's here for who you are. And if you're willing to let it teach you, it will rebuild you from the ground up. And unlike people, pain doesn't quit on you. It shows up every time you slack, every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you betray your own potential. It doesn't forget. It reminds you when you're off course. It hits hard when you're lying to yourself. That knot in your stomach, that weight on your chest, that sting of regret, that's pain reminding you that you are built for more, that you stepped away from your past. And when you start to respect that pain instead of resisting it, when you treat it like a mentor instead of a punishment, you stop falling into the same cycles. You start making moves with integrity. You start building a life that's real, not polished, not perfect, but real. There's a reason why the strongest people you know have been through the most pain. It's not just that they survived it. It's that they learned from it. They listened. They let it teach them discipline, patience, focus, and resilience. They didn't numb it. They didn't hide from it. They faced it. They felt it, and they came out the other side harder, sharper, and more alive. Pain was their tutor in the moments that no one else could reach them. When encouragement failed, when logic failed, when love failed, pain stepped in and carved the truth into their soul, and they're stronger for it. If you try to live a life without pain, you're choosing ignorance. You're turning your back on the one teacher that never lies to you. People will tell you what you want to hear. Pain tells you what you need to hear. And yeah, it's brutal. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your past, but it does care about your future. And it's going to break every weak part of you that stands in the way of it. So when pain arrives, don't reject it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Listen. Let it do its work. Because pain, in its most brutal honesty, is trying to shape you into someone unstoppable. Comfort is a lie. A sweet, seductive lie that promises peace but delivers stagnation. It tells you that you're okay where you are, that you've done enough, that you deserve to relax, even when deep inside you know you haven't scratched the surface of who you're meant to be. Comfort whispers, stay here, it's safe. But nothing great ever grows in safety. Nothing legendary is born in stillness. The longer you stay comfortable, the more you start accepting mediocrity as your normal. And that's the trap. That's how people go from being hungry for greatness to just existing, floating, waiting, wasting. The dream doesn't die all at once. It suffocates slowly in the softness of comfort. And by the time you realize what's happened, years are gone. Time you'll never get back. You weren't born for comfort. You were born for conquest. You were built to push, to sweat, to break and rebuild stronger. Every muscle, every piece of your mind, your will, your character, it grows under pressure. You don't get stronger by sitting on the couch. You get stronger when your legs are shaking, your lungs are burning, your mind is screaming for you to quit, and you keep going. That's where transformation lives, not in the easy, not in the convenient, but in the challenge. Comfort tells you you've earned a break, but the grind knows better. The grind doesn't care how you feel. It cares whether you're moving forward. And forward is always outside your comfort zone. The truth is, comfort is the enemy of urgency. It makes you slow, distracted, lazy. It makes you forget what you were fighting for. When you start choosing comfort, you stop choosing purpose. You start letting small excuses pile up. You miss one day, then another, then a week passes, and the fire that once burned inside you starts to flicker. That's what comfort does. It doesn't kill dreams instantly. It poisons them slowly. One soft choice at a time. You lose your edge, your discipline, your hunger. And before you know it, you become someone who used to want more, someone who used to believe in something, someone who gave up for a pillow and a screen. But the real killers, the real winners, they are allergic to comfort. They hate it, not because they're machines, but because they know what it does to them. They know how dangerous it is. The moment they start feeling too comfortable, they change the game. They raise the bar. They set the alarm earlier. They take on a new challenge, not because they need to, but because they must. They know the second you start feeling safe, you're already slipping. So they stay uncomfortable on purpose. They put themselves in situations where they're forced to grow. They seek pressure. They live in the stretch because they know pressure builds champions. Comfort builds cowards. It's not about hating rest. It's about understanding what rest really is. True rest isn't escaping work. It's earning the right to recover. It's the recharge that follows war, not the avoidance of battle. Comfort tries to blur that line. It makes you think you need to take it easy all the time. But that's not rest. That's retreat. You're not recharging if you haven't exerted. You're hiding. Rest comes after the grind, not instead of it. And when you understand that, you stop rewarding yourself for doing nothing. You stop pampering your fears. You stop decorating your cage and start fighting to break out of it. Comfort will always be there, always waiting. It will always give you a way out, a reason to settle, a way to delay. But comfort doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care whether you wake up one day full of regret. It's just a mirage. It looks good from a distance, but once you get there, it's hollow, empty, a lie. And if you fall for it, if you let it take over, you'll never know how powerful you really are. You'll never find out what was waiting for you on the other side of pressure. Pain doesn't destroy, it reveals. It strips away the lies you tell yourself, the masks you wear, and the comfort zones you cling to. When pain hits, it doesn't ask for permission. It crashes in uninvited, tearing down everything fake, exposing every weakness, every insecurity, every fear that's been hiding beneath your surface. And while most people see that exposure as destruction, the truth is, it's the beginning of clarity. Because you can't build power on lies. You can't construct a future on delusion. Pain is not here to ruin you. It's here to wake you up. It's the light in the darkness, showing you what's real, what needs to be fixed, and what needs to be burned to the ground so you can rise from the ashes with strength that's earned, not imagined. People fear pain because they misunderstand its purpose. They think it's there to break them, to punish them, to signal that something has gone horribly wrong. But pain is not destruction. It's the voice of transformation. When you hit rock bottom, when your heart's broken, your plans collapse, or your back's against the wall, that's not the end of you. That's the breaking of an old identity. That's the shedding of weakness, the death of comfort, the removal of everything that was never built to last. What feels like destruction is often the demolition of the small version of you, making space for something greater. And while it hurts deeply, that pain is shaping a stronger, wiser, more focused warrior. You don't rise until something inside you is forced to shift. Pain prepares you in ways nothing else can. It trains your resilience, your emotional muscle, your spiritual stamina. It shows you where you've been lazy, where you've tolerated too much, where you've let fear make decisions for you. And instead of politely correcting you, it throws you into the fire, because that's what true growth demands. Fire. It doesn't come from comfort, books, or empty affirmations. It comes from the nights when you're alone and broken. The mornings when getting out of bed feels like war. The hours you spend grinding while everything inside you screams to stop. That's where greatness is built, not in ease, but in endurance. Pain doesn't destroy your potential. It prepares you to finally step into it. You don't become strong by avoiding hardship. You become strong by embracing it, by walking straight into the fire and refusing to bow. Every painful experience you've endured has taught you something, even if you didn't realize it at the time. It taught you how to stand when everything was pulling you down. It taught you how to speak truth when your voice was shaking. It taught you that survival is not weakness, it's wisdom. And every scar, every crack, every shattered dream rebuilt stronger is living proof that pain did not end you. It educated you. It gave you a grit that cannot be faked, a toughness that cannot be bought, and a drive that no easy life can ever replicate. Pain doesn't just prepare you, it redefines you. It draws a line between who you used to be and who you are becoming. It forces you to make a decision. Will you shrink under its weight or will you rise through its pressure? Most people quit the moment pain arrives because they think it's a sign to stop. But the wise ones know pain is the threshold. It's the door you walk through to reach your next level. And it's not an easy door. It's not gentle, but it's real. It demands your all. And if you give it, if you lean into it instead of escaping, you discover parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Strength you hadn't accessed. Fire you thought was gone. That's not destruction. That's rebirth. What tries to break you is often the very thing that builds you. You can't forge steel without heat. You can't purify gold without fire. And you cannot become unstoppable without pain. Every powerful human you've ever admired has walked through pain. But instead of letting it destroy them, they turned it into a weapon of discipline, of clarity, of unshakable will. So the next time pain rises, remember, it's not here to ruin you. It's here to reveal who you really are. Well, scars are your story of survival, and survival isn't weakness, it's war. Those marks on your heart, your body, your mind, they're not something to hide. They're not evidence that you failed. They're proof that you made it through what tried to break you, that you stood in the storm, faced the fire, and refused to go down without a fight. Every scar you carry is a memory of a moment you could have quit, could have disappeared, could have let the pain consume you. But you didn't. You endured. You stayed standing. And that endurance speaks louder than any smooth, untouched life ever could. Scars aren't ugly. They are earned. They're the map of every battle you've survived. And every single one of them carries a message. You are still here. Most people spend their lives trying to look unbroken. They try to paint on a perfect image, cover up their mistakes, hide their pain, bury their past. But what they don't realize is this. It's not your perfection that inspires people. It's your perseverance. It's your scars. It's the fact that you were wounded and kept going anyway. That you failed and stood back up. That you faced disappointment, betrayal, heartbreak, and still showed up. That's what people connect to. That's what moves hearts. That's what creates legacy. Your story isn't powerful despite the scars. It's powerful because of them. Because in every scar, there's a lesson. In every scar, there's a reminder of your strength. And when you embrace them, instead of hiding them, you become unstoppable. Think of your scars as living proof of your growth. The pain you once thought would crush you is now behind you, but the mark remains. Not to haunt you, but to honor you, to remind you of who you had to become to get through that pain. The scars stay not to keep you in the past, but to remind you of your progress. The sleepless nights, the silent tears, the days you didn't think you'd survive, but did. That's what those scars represent. They are chapters in your life where the plot could have ended, but didn't. They are not flaws. They are victories. They show that life hits you hard, but you hit back harder. Your scars aren't just for you. They're for the ones coming after you. They are the blueprint, the roadmap, the evidence that healing is possible, that strength is forged through adversity. Someone is watching you right now, silently praying they can make it through what you've already overcome. And when they see your scars, when they see your authenticity, your resilience, your refusal to hide what you've been through, they see hope. They see possibility. They see what's possible for them too. Your scars become their strength. Your survival becomes their permission to fight. That's the power of living transparently, of owning your pain and refusing to let it define you. Because when you stop hiding your scars, you start changing lives. There's no shame in what you've been through. There's no weakness in breaking down and rebuilding. The shame is in pretending you were never broken, in pretending you've always had it together. That's not strength. That's denial. Real strength is owning the entire journey, the wins and the wounds, the pride and the pain. You want to be truly powerful? Then be real, be raw. Show your scars and say, this is what I've survived. This is who I've become. And I'm not ashamed of any of it. That kind of honesty shakes people. That kind of truth can't be faked. That's what leaves an imprint. Your scars are the marks of a warrior, not a victim. They show you've been tested, pushed, knocked down, and that you answered the test with perseverance. So when you look in the mirror and see the scars, physical or invisible, don't feel broken. Feel proud. Feel fierce. Because you didn't fold when life came for you. You didn't run when it hurt. You didn't give up when it would have been easier to walk away. You stayed. You fought. You overcame. And every scar is a permanent reminder that you are more powerful than anything that's ever tried to destroy you.